The date is August 17th, and I recorded this video yesterday on August 16th, but I'm putting a quick interjection here because Rob Talks Hockey just uploaded his own version of this same topic. He does a great job covering it. You might have already seen that video uploaded on August 17th. But this video right here that I'm uploading, it's not uploaded on August 17th. I'm pre-recording some videos because I'm in Japan right now, as most of you probably know if I've made a few vlogs here and there being away from Canada, but just wanted to record a quick interjection before I depart, shouting out Rob Talks Hockey on this subject because he did make a great video about it too. I saw this little discussion, this little idea here, around several pieces of Canucks-related fan media. This was on Reddit. I saw it a few times on there, and I saw this perspective also being brought up in a few Twitter group chats that I'm a part of as well. Why Elias Pettersson won't have a sophomore slump. And I know this has been touched upon by a few other people. I know Nyquist in his video about NHL stars that could be better next season, he labeled Pettersson as a guy that doesn't fall into that normal category of having a sophomore slump, in his opinion, and I totally agree, and there's a little bit of an explanation statistically that you could definitely say justifies that belief, and I think combined with all the other things that we've seen from Petey, it makes sense to think about it like Pettersson has already gone through a sophomore slump, so to speak. So in order to actually understand what I'm talking about here, let's go over Pettersson's season. He had a total of 71 games played and 66 points for a .92 points per game. Now, it wasn't always at .92. He had a few injuries here and there, Kotkaniemi, Matheson, yeah, let's not talk about those, but for the most part, Elias Pettersson and the majority of his production was in the earlier half of this season. Right here I have myself a breakdown of Pettersson's season. In October, he had a 1.25 points per game with 10 points in 8 games. In November, he kind of dropped a little bit, a 0.85 points per game. Then, in December and January, this is where he went off on the league. 17 points, 14 games played in December at a 1.21 points per game. And in January, 6 points, 4 games, a 1.5 points per game. And as you can see, in February and March, Pettersson slowed down by quite a lot. From 1.21 and 1.5 points per game, he dropped down to 0.78, 0.64, and ended things off in April with a 0.33. So why did this happen? Why did Pettersson stop scoring? It's a number of different factors here. First off, the NHL season is longer than any season that Elias Pettersson has ever played. In the SHL, he played 50-ish games, in the Allsvenskan, he played 40-ish games, and in the NHL, he finished up at 70. And he's not even supposed to play 70. He's supposed to play 82, but he didn't play 82 because he had injuries. So the overall grieving nature of the Vancouver Canucks schedule and the NHL season as a whole was something that Pettersson wasn't used to. And as a result, fatigue sets in, that's how it goes. But also, the slump towards the middle of the year was less of him getting tired and more of other teams just catching up. This is kind of the same idea that I wanted to bring up for the sophomore slump. The sophomore slump happens in NHL athletes because teams notice that they're really good. And once their second years come around, that's when teams start to lock onto players. Because the sophomore slump relies heavily on expectation. Take the 3 most recent Calder nominees before the most previous season, for example. Clayton Keller, Brock Besser, and Matthew Barzal. All 3 of these guys had lower seasons in their second years than their first years. And that's not by coincidence. Sure, Barzal didn't have Tavares, and sure, Clayton Keller was playing on an Arizona team. But the fact of the matter is the NHL took notice of Besser, Keller, and Barzal, and by the time their second years rolled around, teams were saying, okay, we're playing the Islanders, Barzal is a guy to keep an eye on. Okay, we're playing the Coyotes. Everybody get on to Clayton Keller. He was one of their best players last year. And as a result, teams lock down on players because the expectation is that they're great. Which they are. I mean, they were nominated for the Calder. But I'm going to say here that Pettersson won't experience that. He's not going to have teams clogging up onto him in a different way than they did at the end of the season. They're not going to put extra pressure on him in October once the season starts in comparison to last season. Because by December, the league already knew that Pettersson was so good that once the All-Star break concluded, that's when teams already started harping onto Pettersson. You can see the drop in production. Pettersson dropped off. It's not because he was tired entirely, but all the other teams knew at this point in January and February, hey, this guy is really good, let's clog him up. It's not just Besser, this guy is a threat too. So, what Pettersson had to go through at the end of his first season was pretty much half of an entire season of him being tired because fatigue, and him getting the best of NHL competition because they all clogged onto him and they all knew of the superstar in the making that he is. Which is why this offseason of training, it's going to allow Pettersson to understand, okay, I played 70 games, this is what it felt like on my body, this is what I need to go through to prevent that in future seasons. Pettersson will also be able to understand, okay, by the time I was in March and April, this is how teams closed down on me. And Pettersson will go through the necessary motions in the offseason to assure that he can get past that. He knows what to expect now. He knows what to expect when top NHL D-cores are going after him. He knows what to expect when he's in the 60, 70 game mark and he's fatigued. He knows all of that. And if I know Elias Pettersson like you know Elias Pettersson, you know that he's going to do everything that he can to get past that hurdle.
Ohayou gozaimashita. Gio desu. Okay, this is quick interference on my little Pettersson video. This was actually so cool because there was literally an article posted just a few hours ago onto Sportsnet by Chris Johnston, I believe, talking about this same stuff. Elias Pettersson, there's an interview. He says pretty much the same things that I'm saying in this video here. A few days later, the article is published. In fact, today it's currently Wednesday. I believe it's the 21st, I'm not too sure, but it's currently like 4 p.m. Vancouver time yesterday on Tuesday right now, and it's 8 a.m. here in Japan. So everybody's going to work, everybody's doing their own thing. It's really, really neat just being a part of this culture, but overall, I just wanted to step in to say that Petey does say the exact same things himself. The interview with Pettersson goes over things like how teams are trying to make the playoffs around the 60, 70, 80 game mark, and Pettersson was definitely in a role where he wasn't used to that because early on the teams were a little bit easier. Also, he talks about his conditioning and all that stuff. So Pettersson really does acknowledge the exact same things that I'm talking about here, which I think is just awesome because it's very, very vindicating for me personally. But Pettersson also talks about going to the gym, making himself stronger because he's not necessarily the strongest guy out there. But overall, it's just a really, really cool article. I'll leave a link down in the description to that as well as the Rob Talks Hockey video. So there's a lot to talk about, but overall, let's just get back to the normal video that I recorded before.
It's what he's been doing his entire life. He wasn't satisfied with his shot after he got drafted. Well, he worked on it and he had an amazing shot. He's not satisfied with the way he plays. Well, he's gonna become better. Pettersson is one of these weird anomaly players who can just improve whatever it is he wants to in a given offseason. And he's healthy now. He's healthy. He's played a full season. He's got the experience. He knows what to expect. And teams have been locking down on him as if he was already a Calder winner ever since February. So, with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Pettersson featured no sophomore slump whatsoever. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he reached an 85, 90 point pace if he plays all 82 games. That's how good Pettersson is. That's how different Pettersson is compared to every other player we've seen in the past. And it's why I believe we're in for a really good season, as long as Elias Pettersson stays healthy. Hope you enjoyed this video, social 9, and bye.